My name is Jonathan Hutchinson. I'm the youth coordinator at Diaz Combat Sports. I'm a jiu-jitsu coach. I'm an MMA coach down at that gym, and I do all sorts of stuff with the program down there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, there's so much to unpack, but before we get into it, like our family, Monica and I, and of course Leora, like our daughter,
Yeah.
we are huge fans of DCS. We are huge fans of you and the whole program. So first, just thank you for everything that you do.
It's really no problem. I'm getting so much more out of it than everyone else is, trust me. Like,
Okay.
It means a lot to me.
Cool. So like there's so much to explore here, but if you just gave us like a general overview of the gym, we've had Ryan on here before, but just a general overview of the gym and then the specific programs that you lead.
100%. So the gym itself is a gym like in the heart of the downtown east side. It was started by Ryan Diaz. I've known him since I was 18. When I moved to the city, I met him pretty much right away, and he like took me under his wing and really helped like grow me as a person and grow me as an instructor. When the gym first started, it was just a tiny little like place when I was there, and then just slowly through time, we would have like too many people, and we'd have to find a new space, and too many people would have to find a new space, and now it's a beautiful little spot like nestled right on Pender Street. It's a really cool environment to be a part of because it's about, of all the places that I've been, like it's so much about community and about family and about fostering like a really good community. So it's a beautiful spot. And then myself, I run a lot of the kickboxing programs. So a lot of the kickboxing classes. I help out with the MMA team. I compete competitively in jiu-jitsu. So I travel around and I do that quite a bit. I also run the jiu-jitsu programs during the day. And then, like I said, I'm the youth coordinator. So I'm there for all the different kids classes, whether it's jiu-jitsu or kickboxing or wrestling or boxing. I'm always around. If you ever come to a kids class, I'll be around somewhere. And that's my main role at the gym. Yeah.
So how did you get into the youth side of it?
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing. Like when people talk about, let's say, any kind of work.
Yeah.
My background is a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
and back in the early days of when I first started working in addiction and mental health, you didn't actually have to have like a lot of, at least in BC, a lot of credentials to do addiction work. And you'd meet these people who had master's degrees, but you'd also meet people who just had lived experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then over the years, there was a big push for accreditation, like master's degrees and all that. And the thing that always stuck out to me is like, well, just because someone has a master's degree doesn't mean they're actually like good at working with people.
100%. Yeah.
So I'm always interested when we're talking about like youth programming and creating things that are like really help people grow.
Mm-hmm.
A, I want to know like how you got into it, and B, like what are your thoughts? Like, do you have to have any kind of specific expertise or training to do that,
Mm-hmm.
or is it okay just to have like a good mix of people?
A lot of it actually comes down to how I grew up. So my dad was a mechanic and a kickboxer. So I grew up with a lot of martial arts in the house. But my mom ran a dance school. So she ran a small dance school. So I grew up around watching my mom like run the school and teach kids. And like my mom has plenty of accreditations within dance. But the thing that makes her special is the way that she interacts with children. Like I remember growing up and watching her, and like to this day, like nobody that I've ever met is as good at like making 3-year-olds sit still as my mom. She's awesome at it, and just like the patience and the love that was there was really like profound. So I grew up with that, and then also I started fencing at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a wonderful fencing coach named Victor when I was growing up, and he taught me a lot about how to think in the future and to think about high performance and like building athletes like one step at a time. And then my first job on the Sunshine Coast, which is where I grew up, there was no fencing on the coast. And when I first decided to get like a job, one of the first things that came up was like teaching at the rec center. So I was teaching at the rec center when I was like 13. I was running a fencing program. And so I made a lot of my mistakes very young in terms of like teaching kids. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I think was really helpful about that is that I learned to teach kids while I was still a kid. So at that time, it was much easier for me to connect with like with someone who is like, if I'm 13, 14 and they're like 10, like I remember what it was like to be 10. And then I started a gym on the Sunshine Coast for fencing when I was 16, and I ran that till I was 20. So I also had a lot of experience there. So I think when you're dealing with children, the first thing is like a predisposition of patience, like being patient and loving and caring, and like understanding that like your goal is for everyone to become the best version of themselves. It's not to be a world champion. It's not to be all this stuff. It's to be the best version of themselves and to help them achieve whatever it is they want to achieve. I remember telling somebody once, they were having like a really, really hard day at training. And I was like, listen, if you came to me and you told me that, hey, you want to be a figure skater, I wouldn't like get mad at you for not wanting to fight anymore. I would phone the best figure skating coach I know and say like, hey, I've got someone who has a lot of potential, and I would, say whatever I have to say to make sure you get in their program, because that I think is what fosters like strong people, is having that community. Yeah.
So your experience then is like your ability to work with people. It's all experiential. It's first being modeled on seeing what your mom did, and then growing up, being coached, being mentored, and then transitioning that. There wasn't any specific like training you took.
I did like the NCCP like level 1 coaching. Like it's like for all of the national, all the different sports programs. So I did that. I did in school. I went and I did a course in coaching like youth programs. But to be honest, I had an experience where I like went into it and I was like, they're teaching us how to like line kids up. Well, I've been doing that for a long time. Like I feel like experience is the best. The things that I believe the programs that people really, really need are programs like Safe Sport, where they teach people how to interact with children in a way that is safe for everyone in the community, where we all are all checking each other, if that makes sense. So like Safe Sport is really important. If you haven't had any training, then like an NCCP level 1 program, or anything that kind of like teaches you the basic layout of how to structure classes, or how to build a program, or how to build a program that progresses like week by week by week in a curriculum, I think is really important. I feel like when I've had people come in and start to be an instructor, one of the biggest kind of like nervous moments, like if kids feel the nervousness, the disorganization, they're gonna go into their own world and do their own thing. So having like structure is really important. And that's the first thing I tell people to do, is to learn how to do that.